you a student, mentor, or parent that loves robotics? Then you're in the right place. Up-to-date info on all things robotics. This is the RoboZone Podcast with your host, Pete Ekman. The RoboZone Podcast is brought to you by Kettering University. It's a Kettering-built world.
Hello and welcome to the 57th episode of the RoboZone Podcast. This podcast is for Tuesday, April 17th. In this episode, we have a roundtable discussion, catching up on Michigan State Championships, talking about what to look for at Houston and the Detroit World Championships, and we're all a little tired. We are going to do just the roundtable discussion tonight, so it's going to be a shorter episode, so let's get to that discussion. With me tonight, I have Kim. Kim, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Kim Portuesi. I am the Community Outreach Mentor for the Howell FRC Scottspots Team 4776 in Howell, Michigan.
And we have Jon, who's no stranger to this podcast. Jon, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Jon Uren. I'm the coach of Team 1684, the Chimeras from Lapeer, Michigan.
So it's just the three of us tonight. It's hard to get someone online, but these two graciously volunteered to come online tonight, and we're going to be covering a little bit of the Michigan State Championships from the competition side and from the chairman's side, which is the most prestigious award that anyone can win here in FRC or FIRST. So, Kim, let's start with you. So tell us what your experience was at the Michigan State Championships.
It was super exciting. It was the second time our team had gone to the state championship. The second time we applied for the chairman's at that level. So the excitement was amazing with all four fields running at once. It was like as exciting as a rock concert would be. It's pretty cool.
And how long have the Scottspots been around? What is the history of the Scottspots?
Our rookie year was 2013. We were super fortunate to win the Chairman's Award in only our fourth year. And then this is our sixth year. And again, this the second time we advanced to states, and the first time that we actually won the Chairman's Award at the state level. And
Jon, tell us a little bit of the Chimera's success at the Michigan State Championships.
Yeah, so we had some rough matches, some failures on our robot's part, and then, some failures with our alliance, but things happen, right? That's the unique thing about this sport. We ended up getting an Excellence in Engineering Award, which was awesome, and then we got picked up by the third seed captain with Lance Box, and they're an awesome team to work with. They're a lot of fun. So it was a good experience, I'd say, overall.
And what field was that on, Jon? What field were you on?
I'm on the school's internet, so.
Yeah, no worries.
We were on the Dow division with Thunder Chickens and Strike Force. Those were two of the teams, and then Shambots. That was the alliance that won Dow and then moved on.
And a very impressive one at that.
Yes.
They did their valiant effort trying to win that. They didn't win out in the end, but they did a valiant effort, and it was a pretty impressive alliance to see come off the Dow division, so I have to say that myself. So the Michigan State Championships was nothing other than exhausting, exhilarating, and stressful, and that's from my point of view as well. I was on the DTE field, which everyone kind of joked was the power field out of there. They didn't even win it. The Ford field won it out of the Michigan State Championships. I think matches didn't end till almost like 9 o'clock that night, right? It wasn't like 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe it was all said and done about then.
Right, and the field, there wouldn't be a Michigan State Championship without a little bit of drama, and that was the field updated itself through some software at lunch, and then determined it didn't want to communicate with itself, so we sat there for a couple hours, got the awards out of the way. So Kim, you guys won Chairman's. You briefly talked about that, but how much work did you guys put into Chairman's this year?
So our students start in the preseason. Our team meets year-round. And what's important to note is it's all the opportunities that actually go into winning the Chairman's Award, the opportunities that we present year-round that our students partake in. So winning the Chairman's Award is an award that I think is deserved by all of not just our students, but our mentors, and also our parents who have an incredible amount of enthusiasm and a sense of belongingness to this organization. But my students start in the preseason, and they have to prepare by answering the questions that first has. They also have to write a 10,000 character essay, and then they also have to create a video. Teams out there that have never taken part in the chairman's process, it's quite extensive. And then they have to create a presentation, and then they have to practice the presentation. And we tweak it over and over and over, including the video, which we look at several times. The video itself, you're not graded on the video. They don't use the video as part of your chairman's process. The video is just shown to the crowd after the fact. We try to create a good video, but our students are still learning the software that we have in place. The video we had this year was better than last year, and the one we had last year was better than the year before. So they keep getting better as we learn more about the software. But again, we're just a 6-year team. Accomplishing all this in 6 years was just quite an accomplishment. And every team, has a journey. So when you get to that point where you have won at the state level for the chairman's portion, it was just quite touching for myself and the whole team. I know when, you saw me, Pete, I was actually crying because it was just quite remarkable. And I thought about, all the journey that my students had been on as well, and my team. And so it was just quite amazing.
And where did you qualify? You qualified for states, but what district were you in when you qualified and won the Chairman's Award at that district? Which one was it?
We won the Chairman's Award at the Milford District, which was quite remarkable because being in Milford, that's like being at a state event. I mean, we were up against some really powerhouse teams. So we had a strong presentation, as everybody knows. There's no one key to winning the Chairman's Award. It's all about your team culture and how you incorporate that into the infrastructure of your organization. So I think that one of the keys to the success of winning the Chairman's is sustainability. And I think that we have a really solid, sustainable infrastructure. And I think that that's what makes us a good team. And then carrying that out and bringing that into the culture of our team, I think, is what made it successful.
You guys were the Scott Spots was one of the finalists coming out of Michigan. There were a couple others, right? There was Team Torque, and
yes.
There was Metal and Soul, which
yes,
they helped me a lot this season. Your team did as well for my rookie team, Kim, but Metal and Soul actually let us use one of their old robots to start driving with as a rookie team, and
that's excellent.
Couldn't be happier that they got that. I think they really deserved it. That's a huge thing to do for a team, is to give someone else your robot and have them. They actually came out and reprogrammed it at our facility, so it was pretty cool. Were those the only 3 that made states for?
There were 2 others. There was South Lyon, the Flying Toasters.
Okay.
And then the other team was the Bionic Blackhawks from West Bloomfield. So both of those, they're both amazing teams as well. So I think, all of the chairman's teams were excellent choices.
I agree. So John, let's talk a little bit about competition, right? So tell us a little bit about what that competition was like throughout the week or weekend.
So I would say it was this year compared to last year was very unique. Last year, a lot of people had year runners, right? And so it was, everybody pretty much could do a similar thing. It was just who could do it better, right? Who could do it faster, who could do it, et cetera, et cetera. This year, since I'd say this game was a little bit harder than last year's, there was definitely times where I know in a couple of my matches, I was the only scale bot on our alliance, right? I was the only one that could score in the scale. And then the other 2 robots were other vault bots or switch bots, right? Which, that's just luck of the draw. It is what it is. But it was kind of interesting to me to kind of try to figure out a strategy that you could still win while having to try to contest the scale against 2 other robots that are trying to take the scale away from you, right? So, which in this game, it's extremely difficult to try to 1v2 somebody for that one game element. So I would say this year I saw a lot of really great teams. Like you were saying earlier, Pete, I think the DTE division definitely had some very consistent, reliable teams in it. But, there was definitely from Ford with, I believe Ford was a captain's division, right?
Captains, Trisonics, and I cannot remember the third that won the state championship, but. Yeah,
so with it was 2586 was their other guy. So, you just looking at the alliances that came out of their divisions, all of them were strong in their own respect, right? You had out of Dow, because I was on that field, I saw them a lot more with Chickens and Strikeforce. I think they're one of the fastest scale bots out there, right? Like 67, 3707, and then at the end it was 3535 subbing for 4392. They were all kind of slow, not like slow in retrospect to or slow in respect to like Chickens where they're really fast, right? Like 67 is a little bit slower, but 67 originally had a higher reach than Chickens did. Chickens made a change for states. So it was kind of interesting seeing how 3 scale bots all kind of working in this unison of like, all right, I'm going to go first. You're going to go next. You're going to go this. They weren't like rushing. They weren't trying to like get as many up there as fast as possible. They're just trying to be patient and calm and make sure that they're, getting the cubes where they want them, and seeing how that kind of worked out for them, right? They made it into finals, which is awesome. So,
and one thing that I witnessed, because I was on the DTE field, right? I was in that division, and we had 4 rookie teams, and there's this thing called the luck of the draw, right? And we all joke around about it at the districts, but at the state level, it's really serious. And there were 4 rookies in our division, and 3 of the matches I had out of my 12, I was with another rookie. And I kept going in my head, how is that possible? How is it possible that 2 rookies get, matched up 3 times out of their 12 matches? And when we got matched up with a switch bot. So there was no way that we could, we tried our best as rookies with our alliance partner trying to win those, but you were just totally outmatched. So we were just trying to get, some ranking points by doing the auton and a triple hang at the end if we could. But it was the luck of the draw, as they say it. So I don't know what the algorithm looks like, but I wish I could see it.
One of the cool things too about MSC is like you're really just playing your best game, right? Like the other teams on your divisions, they're those, like you were saying, the cream of the crop is at MSC. They're also scouting, so like you could win you could win or lose every single one of your matches, right? Win all of them or lose all of them, and somebody will still pick you or not pick you depending on how you performed.
Because I totally agree.
Yeah, number 2 will always decline number 1 based on if they don't think that they can win with them. They'll pick whoever they think they can win with, right? So, but yeah, I don't know how that works. Like I said, it's the same luck that I got 2 switch bots, right? Which with no scale bot, and then the other alliance had 3 scale bots. So it's just just how things shake out sometimes, I guess.
It is. But I think what we saw was a recipe at states that you're going to see at Worlds if it's possible. Now, you have so many more teams that are going to Worlds. They're coming out of their regionals. They've won an All-Star Rookie Award. Maybe they're qualifying in that way. But I really think that the team that's going to win at Worlds, both at Houston and at Detroit, are going to be what we saw at States, and that's 3 scale bots. I don't think a vault bot will be picked and win in on Einstein. I don't think we're going to see that unless it's a backup bot, because there wasn't a single vault bot picked out of all 8 alliances on the DTE field. All of us we purposely built our robots for the vault were passed up.
But I think on the DTE field they had a lot of scale bots. So 67 knew, well, we're a good scaler, right? We want to be with other good scalers. We want to take them out of the pool as much as possible. I think that was more of a strategy thing, more or less, to make sure that they got the best autons to get the scale and auton, right? Because that decided a lot of the matches at MSC, I would say. And I think at Worlds, you might actually have the opposite thing too, where you have 2 such great scalers. They don't want a 3rd scale bot because they don't want them to be in the way. They don't want them. Clint Bollinger talked about this with me not that long ago. He joked about not having the temptation, right? He wants them to focus on the vault and the switch and the scale and or not the scale, the vault and the switch, and have that be their priority. So.
Right, and if I could just add one more thing, and we talked about it as a team afterward, because we weren't, as a vault bot, we weren't upset that we didn't get picked. We were rookies going in there. Like you said, there was a pretty stacked division going on there. But we thought that if you had a skill bot that did the vault, they're quicker in their cycles than a strict vault bot, because they can pick up from anywhere. They're used to going across, the field of play, where a vault bot just sticks usually within its little area to cycle as fast as possible. So they had faster pickups coming off the ground, or they could pick them up in a different way, where if it's out of the power cube, the 10 that's sitting in front of the vault, they can actually raise their pickup and pick it up and throw it back through quicker. So I don't know. I'm hoping that I see that as proof when we see it at Worlds, both at Houston and Detroit. And I know both your teams are going. So, Kim, what are you guys prepping for right now for Worlds in Detroit?
I think that they're mostly focusing on a lot of driving practice. And what they're doing is reviewing the matches that they already had done at States. And going over their mistakes and their strategy. They sit down as a group and they start reviewing all of them. And then from the chairman's perspective, we have an extra minute left in our presentation. That is dead space. The students finished the presentation sooner than they needed to. So we're just going to add a couple of paragraphs in our presentation going forward.
Jon, how are the Chimeras prepping for Worlds? I mean, you're, 8 days away, 7 days away?
Well, as I stand up and I look outside the window right now, it looks like they're running autons more. So I think pretty much it's an extremely similar thing. We're doing some autons, just tweaking those because we have some scale autons we didn't use at MSC that we want to use at Worlds. And then drive team has talked a lot about strategies and things that we want to improve on. So we might try to make our climb a little bit faster because we missed out on a lot of ranking points by failing at climbing. So we're going to try to fix that and then go in swinging. So.
And do you think there's going to be any different type of strategy than what we saw during the regular season and the state championships? Do you think things are going to drastically change when you get to Worlds?
Nope. I think things are going to get more I think things will always get more aggressive. I think defense will get more aggressive. And I think teams will do the research and see what kind of strategies are working. And they're going to learn how to do them better. And they're going to do them faster. And so it's just going to equal out to what I was actually fascinated by was I thought the scores in finals would be a lot lower than what they were, right? But we saw the scale tipping back and forth a lot, right? And the switches being taken over, tipping back and forth a lot. So I think it's going to be the same kind of field of play. It's just going to be a lot more intense, and I feel like people are going to break their robot a lot more. Before we left Worlds, we did a lot of work on our intake in those final couple matches. So,
and not only that, but there were a lot. I mean, a lot of dropped milk crates coming off the top of that scale. So.
Oh yeah.
So I think the most efficient stackers, if that's the term we can use, the most efficient stackers will win the world championship on both Detroit and Houston. And then I know there isn't a Festival of Champions this year, so there's just going to be the two sets of world champions. So we're going to see what's going to happen.
I was going to say the thing that we learned a lot about the scale is you want to do everything fast except that final placement, right? So you want to get the cube fast, you want to get your arm fast, you want to get it up fast, you want to get to the scale fast, and then right before you put that cube on, you want to pick exactly where you want it, and then you want to barely set it on there and then drive away. And
I call it a light touch, to use a football term, right?
Exactly. Yep. It's we kept talking about it every night. Is you want to lightly just set it up there, make sure it's nice and tucked in, and then drive away. And that's what our drive team kept referring to is like tuck those cubes in, nice and neat, and then be able to get away. And there's I forget the name of the team. There's a team that I saw, and I don't know how I missed them throughout the build season, but they had an awesome where they intaked it and then they put it up to these little pinchers. They pinched onto it, and then they either threw in the switch or when they took it up to the scale, they always stacked the cubes so that way they were thinner up and down. And it was, I just looked at it, I was like, that's an amazing design because it was so efficient.
I don't know, but I know there's a couple bots still out there that chuck the cubes onto the top. They kind of like catapult them up there. I don't know how that's going to play at Worlds, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it does play. So
I mean that strategy 314 did that to us in our final couple matches. Is their auton was so fast that they beat our scale bot to the auton to the scale, and they just instantly drove up, shot real quick, and then got ready to head to that next cube. So I would say if a robot like that did that strategy, that was extremely effective towards our alliance at least. So going into worlds like that, they might be able to do really well. So.
Well, I want to thank both of you taking time out of your busy lives now trying to get ready for Worlds. So as you sign out, Kim, we're going to start with you. Please tell us again who you are, what team you're on, and how we can follow your team on social media.
Okay, my name is Kim Portuesi. I'm with Howell Scott Spots, FRC Team 4776, and we are on Facebook under Howell First Robotics, and on Twitter at Scott Spots, and Instagram.
And Jon, tell us how we can follow you and your team.
Yeah, you can. My name is Jon Uren. I'm the coach of Team 1684. You can check us out on our website at www.first1684.com, or we have a YouTube page, which is First 1684 The Chimeras. Any of that kind of stuff, and you can get back to all our social media from there.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks at Detroit.
Thanks,
awesome.
Pete.
See you there. Yep. Thanks.
Bye.
The RoboZone podcast is brought to you by AndyMark.com, your robot parts experts.
So this is a little bit shorter of a podcast episode this week, and I'm sure you guys all understand most teams that are moving on to the World Championships are busy getting their robots ready, getting their drivers' teams ready, making sure the mentors have sanity to go into the World Championships. And for all those that are competing in the World Championships, both at Houston and Detroit, we wish you all the luck. We would like to announce that we're going to have a special project in the next couple weeks. We are going to create a RoboZone podcast specific robot. This robot will accompany the podcast crew to all the off-season events that we attend. We're going to use it for education for those children that attend those off-season events and to help promote STEM First Robotics program. So we are coming up with a list of items that we need to build this robot. And what we'd like to do is have the community have some involvement in that robot. So we're going to get a list of items that are needed, and Andy Mark, one of our sponsors, is graciously providing a kit of parts chassis to build the robot with. We will be giving a list of parts that we are seeking and asking the community see if they would like to contribute to the RoboZone podcast robot. So we'll get that list up soon. We'll include it in our next episode. Thank you for listening to the RoboZone podcast. You can find us on Google Music, iTunes Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Thank you for listening to us. We look forward to seeing you next week, and have a great week.
The RoboZone podcast is brought to you by Kettering University. It's a Kettering-built world. Thanks for listening to the RoboZone podcast with your host, Pete Ekman. Find us online at RoboZoneTV.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.